fiends, and welcome to day 12 of Sizzling September. It's quite late at night and quite dark because I've been to my mum and dad's for tea tonight, and yeah, it's sort of time's getting on now. I'm running a bath. I've got a huge headache. I've had such a horrendous day at work, so I'm going to have a bath and I'm having an early night because I've had enough of today. You know when you have one of those days where you just have enough of the day and you really just want to bury yourself under your blankets and wake up tomorrow and it'll be better. One of those days. So I thought I'd do like a little video talking about some ideas for October. Now, I'm a huge Halloween fan. I love Halloween, and that's because I'm a huge horror film fan. I don't know if many people know that, but I am. I probably have talked about that kind of thing in the past, but just briefly mentioned it. So my favourite film of all time, not just my favourite horror film, is Scream. I've seen it so many times it's beyond belief. I know the script backwards and forwards. In fact, I also have a book about it, and I also have the script of it. Absolutely love it. I do love Wes Craven anyway, and I just love the little sort of teaser bits in it that relate to like other horror films. Like when she says she hates horror movies because it's some big-breasted girl who can't act who's always running up the stairs when she should be running out the front door. It's insulting, and that's what she says, and I love that. I just love so many of the lines out of the film. So yeah, I love Scream. So I was thinking in October I might do a series of videos, and I wanted kind of your feedback on what you think I should do. I was thinking about doing some Scream Queens typical makeup because I quite like, although some of them are quite basic, I quite like Courtney Cox Arquette as she was then in Scream 2 with the red lip and the eye makeup she had on, and I just thought about playing around with some different things that I can do, like maybe some nail tutorials. Yeah, so I'm not really sure exactly what I want to do yet, but I just was wondering if anybody had any ideas of anything they'd like to see me do with a Halloween sort of theme to it. And I thought I would also do a few sort of quite out there eye tutorials. It doesn't quite fit in with Halloween, but I was thinking about doing Batman because he's the Dark Knight, and I guess that kind of fits in with, like, you know, the Dark Knight. It sounds a bit, you know, horror in a way, but it's not. But you know what I mean, don't you? It's like a dark figure. So I thought I might do that because I've had a really good idea, but I need to try it out first, so don't quote me on that one because it may turn out horrendously wrong, but hopefully not. So that's what I was thinking of doing, and I'm also going to be, I've been formulating some ideas, and I'd like to do some videos kind of showing you things that you may not know about me. You know, some of the freaky things about me, like I collect tins and boxes, so nerdy, and notebooks and things, but I thought I would share some of that with you, and maybe some of my writing. I don't know if anybody would be interested in hearing anything that I've written, and I don't know, I feel a bit nervous about sharing people would like it or not, but I've always been interested in writing. When I was in school, my teachers always used to say to me, oh, you'll write a book someday, and I was just going to exercise books, like everybody else would leave with 2 for the whole year, and I'd have a pack of about 8 of them because my stories used to be, I could write 20-page stories. My hand just used to carry me away, and yeah, I was so into that, and I'm still loving writing now. I wrote a book when I was 14, and when I read it now it's so ridiculous. But yeah, it was quite funny at the time. It was like a gangster type thing, and the 5 main male characters in New Kids on the Block. It was quite amusing. I don't know why I'm sharing this because it's also quite embarrassing, but yeah, I found it recently and I was reading it and it was really funny. But then I wrote a book quite recently, and I sent 2 chapters, 2 first pages into a writing competition, a national competition, and one of my pieces was 11th and the other piece was 3rd. Yes, 3rd. So I thought that was really good. Sorry, I was distracted. the dogs. So yes, so I did that, and then they said, well, you should write more. So I wrote the chapter, and they actually put it on the website, which was really cool. And then I sent it to a publishing house, a local one in Newcastle, and they said they wanted to read the rest. Now they've read the rest and sent it back to me and said, we're not publishing crime fiction at the moment, we already have our capacity on that, we really enjoyed it, tighten up some of your speech, and send it off to somebody else, because we think that it would be worth publishing. We think somebody would pick it up. So I'm currently working on that, and I'm actually working on another book now. I absolutely love it. The best part of it is the whole research part of it. So I love sitting and researching. Now the one I'm doing at the moment, the first one that I recently wrote is actually set in New York, so that involved getting in touch with people in a hotel that I was based in some of the actual events there, and I got the whole huge information on the hotel, and then I just looked at the city of New York official website for their for their government, whatever. I did that, and then I learned all about their transport. I got a book on police in the USA. I've got loads of books, and I will share it with you if people are interested in seeing that side of like me and what I do in the research process. But I did a massive amount of research, and I got New York for Dummies, which told you a lot about places to eat, travel, places to visit. It's really, really useful, as well as weather and stuff like that, which is stuff that you need to know because you need to try and be accurate. So I did that for that one, but the one I'm currently working on is actually a place that I've invented. So it's not like I've just invented somewhere. I've looked at a map, and it's based in America because I actually prefer writing American fiction. I don't know, just find America more exciting, legally and stuff like that. So there's a place, and there's nowhere built there on the map, and a road, quite a major road, runs past there, and I just thought, yeah, I don't know what's there, but it doesn't really matter because it's a fictional place. So I've invented a place that is there. So I'm quite excited about that, and I've been doing some work on that, and I'm really enjoying that. But like I say, the research is just so exciting. Developing your characters, developing the place, doing your research on where you're writing, doing your research on what's going to happen. You need to have like sort of medical data and all sorts of things. Sometimes people think, oh, writers, you can just pick up your piece of paper and write it. It's just really not that simple. There's a lot of character development. You've got to make sure that you're accurate if you're writing in a place. You've got to make sure if you're writing crime that your policing is fairly accurate. I mean, it changes from now and every now and then, different rules and regulations, but it's basically not being too specific so that those details aren't wrong in the future. So it's really, really interesting. I like learning about new things, and I love that part of it. And also about just about like, I don't know how to put it. I've got books on sort of forensics, let's put it that way. So crime scenes, the body, what happens to the body, how they examine it, things like that, because you need to know these things, and it's very important. And having an imagination is a hugely important thing. Just that imagination and letting it take you somewhere, take you to a place. Some people, when they write, they like to make a big plan, write exactly what's going to happen in their chapters. With the first book I wrote, I wrote the last chapter first, had this wild idea, wrote it all down, and then I started at the beginning and wrote towards that. But I didn't plot anything in between, I just let it organically take me there. Some people can't write like that, but I prefer to write that way. And I find that sometimes the story changes, but I also find that it's very difficult to kill off characters sometimes, because they become alive to you. You imagine what that character would do in that situation, and they become like real people, and it's difficult to let those people go sometimes. So that's very interesting. But it's important to get your character's information down so that you're not saying he's got blue eyes in chapter 1 and then in chapter 10 miraculously he's got brown eyes. So you got to keep your story straight. I tend to make notes on each chapter, just brief notes about anything major that's happened in the chapter, so that I can keep on writing and have continuity and not do anything twice or say something wrong. I love writing. It's great, it's very relaxing, it gets a lot of my emotion out. I do write poetry, but I mostly write that if I'm upset, if I'm angry, I find it easy to get feelings out in poetry. But writing itself is just very much about my imagination, so I can sometimes just visualise something happening and then I write it down, and then I can literally write a huge amount from that particular thing. I don't know if you heard in the news recently about a family who were killed in a car, they were shot. I actually heard that, but I didn't hear it all, just a brief about that on the news, and I actually wrote a huge chapter. Now, I'm probably never going to use it, but I just was very inspired by hearing it, and I could almost imagine how it may have played out. I don't know if anybody finds that weird, probably, because I actually write crime fiction, and some of it is a little bit, I mean, the first one I wrote, which was in New York, was gangsters, mafia sort of, kind of thing, sort of gangland. So, they weren't like at a tea party going, oh, let's have tea and biscuits. There was some swearing in there, there was some violence, but it was necessary to the book. I'm not one of these people who would just put loads of swearing in. I don't swear myself, so I don't like too much of it, but if it relates to your character and it would be what they would do, then it's important to go with that in a way. So yeah, I love all the character development and seeing where it's going to go. Sometimes I just have ideas of events and I'll write it, and then what will happen is I'll think, right, I'll write that down, and I might write a couple of pages, sketch out a whole scene of what's going to happen, and then it may not actually go into that book, but I keep those notes and then I use them in something else. So something that didn't make the last book I wrote is actually making this book, because I think it's going to fit in a lot better with what I'm thinking now. And for the new one I'm doing, I've done a lot of research on psychiatric institutions, particularly in the 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, because that's going to play something of a part, because there is a huge psychiatric institution just on the outskirts of town, and it's going to relate very much to what happens in the story, the owner, their family, just lots of things really. So I'm quite excited about where that one's going to go. I've got some quite nice lead characters and I'm writing it in a slightly different style as well. But yeah, so I thought I'd share a little bit about my writing. If you'd like to hear more about it, I'd love to do another video, but I know it doesn't interest everybody, so it may be something that not everybody wants to hear, but I just want to start doing some little different things, and I thought I'd give you something a little bit different today, which is a bit more of a chatty sort of video. Tomorrow I am going to do my makeup hints and tips. I've literally written it all out today. It's all kind of hints and tips about makeup and beauty and that kind of thing, and it's stuff that I've picked up as I've gone along in the past 2.5 years, and it's stuff that I've learned a lot off YouTube and just magazines and stuff. And I know a lot of you will know this, so I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. I'm just kind of shared what I've learned, because maybe there's something that I've learned that you haven't, that you might find useful, and then maybe when I tell you my hints and tips, you might think of something that I haven't thought of that maybe I could find useful, because I'm always learning and wanting to learn. So that would be really interesting. So let me know what you think about maybe a horror series, and what you think about me doing a little bit more on my writing, and leave the comments below. And thank you very much for watching, and see you all soon. Bye!